everybody and warm welcome to my channel, Tarot by Izabela. I hope you're all doing fine and I'm very happy to see you here. Today's video will be a reading about Antarctica. And it will be a little bit different reading than I normally do. Since I'm not going to use any cards, I'm just going to use sand, crystal balls and some shells and stones. But before we begin this reading, I want to thank you all wonderful viewers for all of your support to this channel, for your comments, for your likes, for everything you do. And I'm very grateful to have you here. And Antarctica, yeah. I will not talk so much about history. I will just mention some few facts you can find online. And there are a lot of things online, on different channels, talking about Antarctica and about aliens and hollow earth and secret military bases and things like that. I will not go so much into this. I will only use my crystal ball and the sand to see what I can find. And I don't know in advance what can pop up, but could be quite interesting. Well, about this reading then. Here I have sand that is shaped a little bit like the continent of Antarctica, and I also have a picture of Antarctica just to get more in tune into the place and to maybe easier get information about what I can find there. And this sand it comes from Cape Town, South Africa. And it's the closest to Antarctica physically I could get something from. And hopefully there are some kind of memories, sediments or something that have been washed up on the shore, on the beaches in Cape Town, that comes from Antarctica. So this is the closest I can get physically there. And there's a friend of mine that sent me some sand from South Africa. And on this sand I'm gonna put some stuff I have here. And these are shells and stones, just to get a more intuitive reading. Yeah. But let's start with some short information about Antarctica. And this information you can find easily online. So I don't have any links to it. You can just Google Antarctica and you can find a lot of information. Let's see that. I have some notes here. Okay, Antarctica. Antarctica is its own continent. It's one of the world's 7 continents and the 5th largest. And it's very windy on Antarctica, and it's officially a desert. So it's one of the driest continents on the planet, and it has very little humidity. And it's difficult for clouds to form. And it holds the most of the Earth's fresh water. It's home of the South Poles. Yeah. So it's both the Earth's axis of rotation and the magnetic South Pole. And everywhere you are in Antarctica, you will face north. And it has the largest ice sheet in the world. And only 1 to 2% of Antarctica is permanently ice-free. Yeah. And the home of the world's largest icebergs. And it also have active volcanoes. And have big mountains and buried mountains range under the ice. And it's also home to the longest mountain range on Earth. Antarctica have also a lot of underground lakes. And it's one of the best places to find meteorites. Since they are dark stones and most of Antarctica is covered with ice. And it's easier to spot them then. And there are no polar bears in Antarctica. And of course, there's a lot of penguins and a lot of whales and seals and other animals that like very cold climate. And Antarctica, in Antarctica we have 6 months of darkness and 6 months of light. So it's Arctic winter and Arctic summer. And we also have southern light, Aurora Australis. It's like northern light, Aurora Borealis, but it's from the south. Well, this information I got online. The truth about Antarctica, I cannot guarantee what I read here is completely truth. Anyway, this is the information you can find. And probably there are a lot of things we don't know about Antarctica and then they will not say. But this is the official version. And Antarctica was discovered in the 19th centuries. By some Russian ships, Commander Fabian Gottlieb von Bellinghausen in 1820. And this is recorded as the official discovery of Antarctica. And after that we have English and Spanish and Americans that went to Antarctica. And all of those nations want to have Antarctica as their colony. But something strange happened. We don't really know. So they agreed on one thing, that Antarctica should not belong to any nation. What more? There are 2 settlements in Antarctica, Esperanza Base and Villa las Estrellas. And there's only 1 ATM machine in all of Antarctica. Yeah, we even managed that. And it has, it's occupied all year around, but there are no permanent human inhabitants. And you cannot get to Antarctica during the winter because of bad weather, infrastructure, no sun. And the tourism is very highly regulated. And Antarctica has no official time zone. And they have also discovered that Antarctica had tropical climate in the past. They say about 30 million years ago things changed. And it holds the lowest temperatures on Earth. Minus 93.2 Celsius have been recorded there. And the whole Antarctica is protected by something they call Antarctic Treaty as a scientific preserve. And it was implemented in 1961 by 12 nations. And now about 50 countries have signed on this. and it has no sovereign claims and encourages scientific cooperation. And there are many scientific stations in Antarctica. Well, that was just some short facts. So let's see them. Let's begin with this reading. And first I'm gonna mix my gadgets, my stones, and I'm gonna throw them here on Antarctica. And this first reading looks like this. Let's see what we can find in these stones and shells. And the first thing I get on the north coast of this continent, a very big iceberg will get loose and travel up north. In this iceberg, there is some signs of previous life or some signs of civilization inside this ice that breaks loose from the continent, and it's very, very big, extremely big. It's almost like a country, big iceberg. From this part, it's difficult with direction since everything is south, but from the south part of Antarctica going into the middle, they're gonna find a tunnel, or there is a tunnel already that goes into big place underground under the lake that's called Lake Vostok. And there is some kind of tunnel road already built since before discovery. And this will also come out to the open. In Antarctica, I see forests. I see a very rich animal life and plant life, but it's hidden under the transatlantic mountains. Somewhere under there, the mountains, there is a pocket or a valley or something, but it's very, very green and have a rich plant life and animal life. And there is the temperature there. It's like Mediterranean temperature. It's very strange, but it's a shelter. Something is hidden there. In this part called Mary Birdland, there is a base on the ground, a big base. This round rock represents that, and it's an opening to that base. And under that base, or in that base, I see humans, but also I see beings that doesn't look like humans. All kind of beings, really. And it's like they have some kind of base there. There is some mining going on in Queen Elizabeth's land for precious metals. This one signifies that. Or they have found big area of a lot of precious metals. And I see copper and iron, a lot of on this part. And in almost all parts of Antarctica, I see structures, buildings, under the ice. And it's very deep under the ice, and some of these buildings are still inhabited by different kinds of beings. Yeah. Okay. And this part over here, I see remains of ancient forests with giant trees over here. Yeah. Well, now I'm gonna put my crystal ball in the center. And those crystal balls I have around are more to focus the energy, so more information can come, or clear out information. So now I just need a couple of moments to concentrate on my crystal ball, and then gonna continue. Humans that have visited or still visiting Antarctica, they were shocked. A lot of information I see we have not received. When the ships came to their shores, I see beings coming out and looking at them, and in some case also like greeting them. And it's strange, all the nations can agree not to open up Antarctica, but they cannot agree on the rest of the world. So something special is there. It's not about nature, because the really wealthy big nations don't care about nature. They exploit it and use it for their own benefits. But why have they kept their hands off Antarctica? One of the reasons are, I see them being greeted by beings from Antarctica. And they are quite tall. fair skin. Reminds a little bit of the greys, but they are not like the greys. They are big but friendly eyes. And they have lived there for long. Evolved a lot since Antarctica became a very cold place. So I see them, well, they welcome them in, they show them where they live. And they show me 24 kilometers below ground. So they have to go probably by this road, and they go down. Yeah, and there is cities, communities. Yeah, it's extremely advanced technology, and they have signed some kind of contract that they are not allowed to let people, anyone, anyhow, get there. Yeah, because those beings have lived not in isolation, but some kind of isolation for a very long time. And I see here on different kind of places, there are entrances to this underground civilization. They can travel underwater. They have all kind of cloaking technology, and they can also travel into space. Lately I see here other kind of alien beings that are at the moment gathering around Earth. They have the very intense communication with those beings in Antarctica. Many political leaders knows about this. And I also see those beings, they have said no to many politicians or people in high position. No, you're not allowed to come, because they are very good on reading personalities. During the Second World War, the Nazis tried to have a base there, but it was destroyed by those beings. They began to build it, and it was operative for some time, but then it was destroyed. Yeah. I see a lot of whales. Of course, there are a lot of whales around Antarctica because of food in the water, and they thrive there. But I see some kind of other race that are very good with all kinds of mammals in the water, whales, dolphins. And they have some kind of sanctuary for whales, because I see whales gather there and they have some kind of communication. And there is also a big area, I see it here, like they keep the whales there so the humans will not kill them all. Mm. And those beings that are like guardians of the sea mammals, they are extremely angry for the exploitation of the oceans and the creatures in it. There will be some kind of earthquake over here, and that it's not so far from, it's far but not so far from South Africa and Australia. Okay, we go like this. But this earthquake, I don't see it hit. Yes, sorry. I see a tsunami-like wave going into South Africa, but also another tsunami wave that will go into the south coast of Australia. It will not be extremely devastating like all communities, a lot of people killed, but still it can be quite scary. I get the feeling October, November, something like that. All those buildings, all those ancient cultures that have lived in Antarctica, because I see temples, I see all kinds of things under the ice, but also under earth. They went from above to below. It's hidden from us. It's well documented. There are a lot of photos and movies, even from our time, but it's not allowed to go public. It will, though, go public in the future. And I see it will go public probably before 2030. Could be earlier, it could be next year, next month, but before 2030 or before 2023. And I cannot be sure, but before 2030 we're gonna have a lot of information about Antarctica. There are extremely big deposits of gold, silver, and many precious metals, even see titanium, and mountains of gold and silver, mainly in this area. Yeah, but I think it's worth mentioning a lot of ice will melt in Antarctica, and many things that was hidden or are hidden, the moment will come to the open. And this ice melting will not rise the sea levels. So no, I don't see that. In the future, time I cannot say when. Since Antarctica is a great, one of the Earth's biggest freshwater deposit, they have a lot of fresh water in this ice. I see somehow that there will be some kind of technology to be able to transport ice to drier areas on the planet and convert it to fresh water, drinking water, and things like that. Let's see if I can get something more. Since Antarctica was not ice and cold before, the thing that happened here, what I see some kind of alien battle, and they had a very strong energy weapon that like knocked the planet out of course or something like that. It changed very quickly the climate on that place, and they were very high advanced people, but they were prepared for this kind of thing, so they had many years before this battle beginning to build this underground civilization. I don't know if this is worth mentioning, but some of those civilization underground, they have even preserved some dinosaur species as a memory of the past. So it's some area that have like, can call it a national park, with dinosaurs, living dinosaurs. And this is also worth mentioning. As I say, I saw entrances to some kind of base, some kind of underground tunnels. Those tunnels go through one continent to another. So you can travel from Antarctica to Europe, to United States, to North Pole, to everywhere on planet. So there are big connections, and it's like with speed of light, very advanced system of travel. In some of those, you can call them tunnel or that you can travel through, have been like occupied by those reptilian races, because I see them and they have, claimed them as theirs, and we're using them to, maybe not special, nice, or good, or good things. And about what is going on in Antarctica, I see the Vatican and the library in the Vatican. They know about this. There are a lot of information about what I'm talking about in those hidden books. So we are in for a lot of interesting truths that will come out, interesting information that will shock the entire planet. And some of those creatures, they can be quite tall, are very good in masking themselves to look like humans. So I see some of those creature beings, because creatures sounds negative, beings, they travel around on the surface and report back what is going on. And they also coordinate with other kinds of alien beings in orbit. It could be that the evil race that are trying to destroy everything that is good, the parasitic race, they will try to bombard Earth with some kind of energy weapon again to try to shift, we can say shift the poles or change the angle, the grades, and that could cause a lot of disaster everywhere. So they are like trying to avoid it or catch the bad guys before they do that harm. And humans are used as like horror stories for the kids to scare them with. Yeah. So there are a lot of things in disguise in Antarctica. But the most important, I see a lot of ways, roads, tunnels that goes all over the place. Let's see if I can get some more info. No. They are extremely powerful, those beings, yeah. And that technology that has been found already on the surface, it's very shocking. Well, that was what I could get through my crystal ball and the sand about Antarctica. Hopefully we all gonna get some news around Antarctica and get the real information, and especially why they are hiding a lot of information from us. So the truth will emerge eventually. What is hidden in the snow will come out when the weather gets warmer. So it's something like that. So you cannot hide it forever. When the weather or the energies or whatever that rules our planet at the moment changes, and we can be ready to hear that truth, what is really going on in Antarctica, then it will come up. And as I said, I get the number 2030, so probably, hopefully, before that date, we're gonna get to know what is really going on this continent. And there are a lot of things going on there. Anyway, I want to thank you all so much for watching. And if you have liked what you have seen and heard, please don't forget to press like button, share button, and subscription button. And take care out there, and hopefully we're gonna see each other soon again. Bye bye.